everyone, my name is Aiden and welcome to my first YouTube video. Yeah, so I've been thinking about making a YouTube channel for a very long time, but I never actually have the time to do it. And since I got laid off from Meta recently, I think this is the perfect timing for me to pivot to do something that I'm really passionate about, which is content creation. And I thought there's no better way to start a YouTube channel than doing a self-introduction. Previously, I posted a story and reel to ask everybody to ask any question that you might have. So I collected all the questions on my phone and categorized everything into the following categories. First of all, I'm going to talk about my life story. And secondly, I will talk about my career. Third, I will talk about my home. Fourth, I will talk about my bi-coastal lifestyle from New York and San Francisco and how we manage everything financially. Next, I'll talk about muffin. Yep, and let's get started. Well, I'm actually very shy right now and feeling really awkward talking to the camera. I can never get used to talking to a dead object. I get a lot better when talking to a real person. So excuse me if I look a little bit awkward right now. I will try very best for myself to get used to this scenario. Actually, let's change to that chair over there. It's brighter and I think the lighting is pretty good right now with the sun coming from my skylight. Alright, the first question bucket is my life story and journey. The first question is, tell us about yourself. Yeah, my name is Aiden and I'm 37 years old. I was born and raised in Guangzhou, China. So I'm Cantonese. I speak Cantonese and Mandarin. Hello， 大家好，我係 Aiden， 歡迎嚟到我嘅 YouTube 頻道。Hello， 大家好，我是 Aiden， 歡迎來到我的 YouTube 頻道。Since the majority of my audience are international, so I will stick with English as the main language for this channel. At home, I speak Cantonese with my wife because Vivid is also from Guangzhou. I lived in Guangzhou until 18 years old. After high school, I immigrated to the United States. My mom got her green card from my grandma because I was underage, so she was able to tag me along. That's how I got here. That was about 2008, so I stayed here for about a year and a half, and I went to Singapore for my undergrad. Why Singapore? That's a funny story because, at the age of 18, you're able to get a job and afford a second-hand car. And I wasn't a good student either. Thought about to drop out of school. My mom is a typical, Chinese mom. So she was like, nah, you're not gonna do that. I'm gonna send you to Singapore to get on a program and finish your undergrad in 2 years. And basically that's why I landed in Singapore. So the next question is, why did you join the US Army? Well, it's actually a love story because I was in Singapore. That's where I met Vivid, my wife, and I couldn't find a job there and she was working there. And I told her eventually I have to come back to the States and let me figure out a way to make it work. And I came back to the States and figure out all kind of way to bring her here. And there's no faster way to get her here without being a citizen. And I was like, what was the fastest way to become a citizen? And joining the US Army was actually the shortcut. And that's when I figured out as a green card holder, you are able to voluntarily enlist in the US Army and get your citizenship in 3 months after the basic training. And right after the basic training, I got my passport. So I signed a 4-year contract and then I got out around like 2017. So basically, I joined the Army for love. Also, the Army provides you stability and they cover the rent for a married couple. They get the best health benefit, the very good education benefit. There's no better way to jumpstart a family than joining the Army, in my opinion, at that time. So basically, that's the short answer for the long story of why I joined the Army. Okay, the next question is, what lesson from the Army still help you today? I think is resilience. I've been pivoting my whole life, trying to figure out what I want to do. And there's a lot of ups and downs. The Army taught me how to be resilient to all the changes, to be adaptive to any challenge you might have in your life, to overcome the obstacles in front of you, and also just to survive. The Army is a big family and everybody have to look out for each other. And I think that also influenced me to want to be a creator somehow, to kind of inspire people, to help and influence as much as I can. In a humble way, of course, and eventually try to make an impact to the world to help others. Okay, next question. How did you become a designer at Meta? Basically, back in the army, I was deployed to Kuwait and Iraq for 9 months. And that was like back in 2016. That was about a year before my separation from the army. I had to plan ahead, like what I should be doing after I get out of the army. So I did some research online. What was the highest paid job in the Bay Area, of course. And the result was like, engineers, doctors, designers. Okay, developers sounds pretty cool, engineers. And I think they're like hackers. They just knocking on a keyboard anywhere on a plane, in a cafe. And I thought that looked pretty cool. So I signed up for a self-taught front-end development course in Codecademy. I was like, oh, this kind of job might be replaceable by websites like Webflow and Squarespace, those kind of website builders. So I decided to pivot to UX UI design because I feel like creativity would never be replaced. So pivoted to UX UI design, put together a portfolio and applied for a Master of Arts program in Academy of Art University in San Francisco. So I started the program online first for about a year when I was in the army, and then transferred to on-site after I got out. And while I was in the master program, I also signed up for a design bootcamp called Springboard because I wanted more hands-on experience so I can get myself prepared for job hunting ASAP. I finished the Springboard program in about a month during the winter break, actually. It was a self-paced program. You can finish that in 3 months or 1 month, depends on how intense you want to be. So I did it for like 40 hours a week and just finished that in a month. Put together a portfolio and I used the portfolio to apply for jobs. So I ran into a friend at Target and he was working at the Facebook for Business sector as a visual designer. And he hooked me up for a design interview with that team. And I just used that portfolio and luckily I got the job. So that's basically how I got into the design industry. But I mean, my dream was to become a product designer, not a visual designer. So I worked as a contractor on that team for about 2 years and slowly pivoted to product designer at Facebook for about 2 years. And in about 2023, that's when I started to make content on Instagram. I was like, since I'm using Instagram more than Facebook, might as well becoming a designer at Instagram. So I searched internally for Instagram opening for design position, and then that's how I landed the product design position on Instagram team. Yeah, so that's pretty much the trajectory of how I became a designer. Until this year in May, that's when I got laid off. Meta was actually my first design job. That pretty much sums up the 8 years design career at Meta. Okay, let's move on to the next question bucket, which is about content creation and how I became a content creator. So first question, how did you first get into content creation? That was back in 2023-ish. So basically we finished furnishing this home and I was working from home during the COVID time. And I thought, we got a beautiful space, why not capturing it by photos? So basically every time I have a break, I would just take some photos of my home and started posting them on Instagram. That's how everything started. Like during COVID time, everybody was trying to make their home more cozy because you spend more time at home. So yeah, I consider myself very lucky to jumpstart my content creation with the home interior and lifestyle content category. Next question, how did you balance Instagram with your Meta job? This question I have to unfold it in a couple dimensions because I think about a lot of things in my brain at the same time. I can't fixate it in one specific thing at a time. So my brain is constantly jumping here and there. Even when I was working on my computer, I was thinking about what I want to shoot later. And so I already have a lot of going on in my brain to kind of pre-plan my content while I'm working. So that's just how my brain works. I'm also a Gemini, so I think that's just how Gemini's brain works. How long did it take before content creation becomes self-sustaining? I think, to be honest, I never thought about monetizing my content. I post content because I simply love the stuff that I'm sharing, and because I just love the fact that I have something else to distract me from my full-time job. I needed a creative outlet to pull myself out of the work because I don't want to think about work after I clock out. Content creation is a perfect way to pull me out of that situation. As your following grows, naturally you'll grow big enough to be seen by companies that are willing to pay you for featuring their stuff. That's when the money actually comes in. And about 2024, that's how I got into a management company. They manage all my stuff because I hate logistics. I hate planning, negotiating, the emails and everything, because I also had my full-time job during that time. So being represented by a management company really, really helped to offload the logistics and really helped me focus on just the content creation part. And just give you an idea of how much I made last year as a content creator, it was good enough to surpass my cash value at Meta, which was around $200,000-ish pre-tax. And next question is, how do you come up with content ideas? Well, I have a lot going on in a day. I cook, I clean, I do DIYs. I have a lot of hacks in my brain. I want to make my life easier. Let's say in a day you want to make a coffee, and that's an opportunity for you to film a content. You can also doing some cleaning, cleaning up the kitchen, cleaning up your living room. Those are all content opportunities. So it's all the matter of whether you want to capture it. And I think that's basically where all my content ideas come from. Okay, next question. What advice would you give someone who wants to become a content creator? Well, I think first of all, you have to be passionate enough because content creation really adds a lot of workload in your life. To me, the filming part is actually the easiest part, but the storytelling aspect to make it resonate, to make it relatable to people is the hardest part. And honestly, never think about monetization from the get-go, and also be the authentic self, show the real you, and never try to pretend to be somebody else because you would never be that person. Be proud of yourself, be proud of who you really are, and be proud to share what you love. I think people will definitely feel that connection in the videos. And also, social media is a very brutal space because you can't expect everyone to know you from just one video. You have to assume that nobody have context about who you are. Try not to get emotionally offended when people say something bad about you, and when people leave negative comments in your content. It's just the way it is. I wouldn't be offended for someone who doesn't even know me in person, because that's just simply not worth of my time and worth of my emotion to be affected by them. So when you post something on social media, always assume there will be lovers and haters, and try your best to have an empathetic mindset when interacting with the audience. Also, content creators are not celebrities. We are just a normal person who happen to have a lot of followers thanks to the platform, which is why I think we have to be as humble as possible. So in conclusion, I guess, be authentic, be the true self. Secondly, be empathetic, empathize the different opinions and respect the different voices. And lastly, I guess, is to be flexible and resilient to any changes, because the platform is brutal. They change algorithm frequently, and every time they change, it's gonna hit you. But I think in the long term, if you are authentic and respective, your audience is gonna follow you wherever you are. So I think those three are interconnected. Okay, now let's move on to the next bucket, which is around home design philosophy. The first question is, tell us about your home. This home is a loft. It's about 1,100 square feet. So we have 2 stories actually in this big rectangular box. The bathroom and the bedroom is on the second layer, and the kitchen, and there's another guest restroom. Also, the living area is on the first floor. And the ceiling is about 14 feet high, which was one of the reasons why we chose this home. Because I'm 6'6", that's about almost 2 meters tall. I need a space that is high ceiling. The next question is, how do you approach decoration? My wife loves organic shape and colors versus me. I'm more towards functional design, straight lines and clean shapes. Our home is basically a combination of both. My wife and I, we bounce ideas, just send pictures, ideas to each other's Instagram. We look at Pinterest boards and just flip over magazines. If we like something, just buy it, and I will figure out a way to arrange it and make everything cohesive. And what you're seeing now is basically the final outcome of that collective teamwork. This is our bedroom on the second floor, and behind this wall on the right is actually the bathroom. And the next question is, why are you so invested in creating a beautiful home? Well, to me, I think, why not? It's your home. I don't see why not invest in your home. My wife and I, we put all our money in furnishing our home because we wanted to make it the most comfortable and the best place on earth. Both of us, we are homebodies, so we love staying a lot of time at home. So we have to make it the most comfortable place that we always want to come back to. A lot of people ask me, why would you invest so much money in a piece of furniture? To me, it's not just a furniture, it's an emotional support. It's a vibe, it's a feeling. Everybody have different ways to make yourself feel good. Somebody will spend hundreds of dollars just to go out and have a dinner, and somebody will spend thousands of dollars to travel. That's how they make themselves feel better. Well, there's no right or wrong answer to this question because everybody have financial preferences, and this is just how we did it. The next question is about home setup tips. Well, although this is entirely subjective, but I think start with the statement piece. Like, for example, the couch, right? The couch is the biggest piece in your home, and you can start with finding your favorite couch and work around the couch and start buying things that match with the couch aesthetic and slowly add like decorations, artworks, small little pieces that elevate, the vibe of your home. So start with the statement piece and slowly work around the statement piece until you get to a point where you think it's closing to like 80%, 90%. And after that, you slowly rearrange your home into a way that fits your needs. And your needs might change over time, you never know. So don't get stuck in one layout. Always try to rearrange your home in different ways to have like a fresh perspective of your home. The way I did it with my SF home was to change layout every quarter to a slightly different arrangement, to make my home feel fresh and new and exciting. So yeah, that's my very subjective tips. I highly encourage you to try that maybe this weekend, just to rearrange a little bit of your home so that you're able to see your home from a fresh perspective, and you'll find a new corner that can fit a new furniture in. You never know. So yeah, just give it a try. Okay, next question is, what was your most beloved piece? Let me show you. So my favorite piece of furniture in my home is this Visu 606 system. This whole system set us back $8,000, but I think it's well worth it because it's very functional. It's timeless design by Dieter Rams. I honestly think this is the best system in the world. But I do want to show you my second favorite piece of furniture in my home, which is this. This is the Bouncy from Raganzen. You can actually sit on it and bounce like this. It's like one of those spring bouncy thing in kids' playground. Every time we see this, it makes us feel energetic and happy. Well, the next question is around how much have you spent on your SF home? So this whole loft back in the days in 2020, we spent about $1.2 million and we put about $300,000 down payment for it so we can reduce the mortgage payment. The next question is, do you rent both homes? So we bought this place, but we are renting the New York home. Okay, so that's a good segue to move on to the next question bucket, which is the bicoastal lifestyle. First question, why move to NYC? Well, the main reason was because my wife Vivid, who is a fashion influencer, and we think there are much more opportunities in NYC in the fashion industry. So that's why we moved to New York. And as everybody says, happy wife, happy life. So I think that was the main reason we moved to NYC. I think the second reason was because Vivid actually sacrificed a lot to move from Singapore to Texas when I was in the army. She sacrificed for me for years, for me to grow, for me to achieve my career growth. And I think it's reasonable for me to sacrifice for her to move to New York with her to help her to grow in her career path as well. It's a win-win situation for both of us because I also saw a lot of opportunity gain from being a home content creator in New York. There are definitely a lot more collaboration opportunities in NYC than in San Francisco. So yeah, that's the reason why we moved to New York. Well, the next question is around how are you able to support your bi-coastal life financially. So basically, when I was in Meta, I have 2 full-time jobs, right? So one is the Meta job and one is the content creator job. So both income is sufficient enough to support this whole lifestyle, to be able to continue paying the mortgage in SF home, also the rent and life expenses in the New York home. Since I got laid off 2 months ago, I have to reconsider this whole lifestyle situation. Maybe, renting this SF home out next year, we'll never know. Or if I'm able to pick up more collaboration opportunities for my content creation, I might be able to cover both expenses at the same time. So it all depends on what's next and how far this content creation goes. Okay, next question bucket is about muffin. Okay, I got a bunch of questions about Muffin. The first question is, tell us Muffin's story. Muffin is turning 8 this year in September. She's actually from Taiwan in Taichung. We got her back in 2018. She flew in by herself with China Airlines in the cargo. She's very well behaved since she was a puppy. Is she a typical Shiba? She's like a cat. Well, cat is one of the traits of Shibas. We actually sent her to a kind of like an army-style bootcamp training to teach her obedience by only affection. No treats, no baby talking. Well, we try our best to train her to be well-behaved without being treat motivated. Muffin's routine is very simple. She sleeps a lot. She's not very active, but if you want her to be active, she can be. She wakes up after us. She only needs to go out for potty like twice a day. Although she's almost 8, but she still acts like a baby, and she always like to snuggle and hug with us, sitting in my lap. And since she was a puppy, we took her with us everywhere we go. A lot of road trips and a lot of plane rides. And because I have military service related disability, so I trained her to be my medical alert dog, so she could fly with us as a service dog. She's super quiet and super well behaved on the plane, and all the passengers around us didn't even notice her existence until we deboard the plane. She's actually a little bit heavier and bigger than a regular Shiba because she was the only child from the litter, which means her mom only gave birth to herself. I guess that's probably why she got so big. She's like 35 pounds right now and about a head longer than the regular Shiba. Hey Muffin, is there anything else you want to add? No? Okay, you can go now. Go. And look at my pants. She was just sitting on me for like 5 minutes and she's shedding all over my pants. It's actually her shedding season right now. She sheds 24/7, twice a year, and 6 months each. Which is alright. We love her anyway. I made sure I vacuum my floor and my rugs every day to keep the dust down. So I was able to keep my home super clean and spotless. Muffin is actually very low maintenance. We don't really brush her, and she only needs to take shower every month or 2 months. And she's super soft. Every time when people pet Muffin, they were shocked about how soft she is. And that's pretty much everything about Muffin. You will definitely see her more in my videos from now on. Now let's move on to the next question bucket and wrap up this video. Alright, let's wrap up the video with the last category of question, which is personal life. The first question is, what does your normal day look like? So I consider myself a full-time house husband right now. So I wake up, make coffee, and prepare brunch. And after brunch, Vivian and I will take Muffin out for a long walk. And in the afternoon, I will shoot content, like cleaning content or any type of DIY content. And anything that crosses my mind, I will just go ahead and shoot it. I normally will spend the entire afternoon for content creation because that's when the sunlight is the best. And then roughly around 4:30, that's when I prepare dinner. I usually cook 1 dish of veggie and 1 dish of meat, and after dinner we'll just watch like maybe a movie or a TV show to digest the food a little bit until almost sunset. that's when we will take Muffin out for the night walk. Back in Brooklyn, Muffin loves walking along the Brooklyn Bridge Park, and every time we pass by the benches, she will automatically pull us towards the bench and jump on a bench to sit with us. She loves watching the boats on the East River. That's a moment for us to detox and bond as a family and walk about an hour and back home. We'll eat some fruits before I get back to editing in the evening. Yeah, that's pretty much what my normal day looked like. The next question is life goals and future plans. I'm that kind of person, never plan ahead much. I see opportunity and I grab it and I just go with it. So I'm always ready to pivot, keeping myself flexible. Well, I guess since I'm jobless right now, since the layoff 2 months ago, I really have to think about the future a little bit more. For the sake of stability, for the sake of the family, So I think I will focus on content creation for a couple more months and see how far we can go, and then determine whether I want to go back to being a full-time designer or not. And of course, I'll continue making videos for my vlog. So for the new audience, if you like home content, interior design, product design, tech, cleaning content, feel free to subscribe and follow along the journey. So it's more like a, calm and soothing type of content with less talking. I still hate talking, and I'm taking a huge step forward just to make this video because I've never talked in front of a camera for this long. Next question, do you want kids? A lot of people ask us about this question, and no, we are not gonna have kids. I'm not gonna explain why, because everyone have different reasons and there's no right or wrong answer, and there's only an answer that's right for you. You just have to choose the best path for yourself. So selfishly, no kids. Vivian and I are gonna enjoy our life and just spend all the money on ourselves and explore the world as much as we can. Okay, so that's a wrap for this video. We are going back to New York in a couple days. So my next video will happen in my New York home. And thank you so much for your time and attention. I will see you in the next video.